Ex-cons of Reddit. What's the worst thing that happened to you whilst doing your time? Serious. My family came to visit me on Christmas Day the first year I was in. I was so ashamed that I had a little breakdown the next day and punched the cinder block wall inside my cell. One of the guards invited me to come talk to him. I made the mistake of thinking he was a friend and was talking about the meaning of life and why things happened. He decided he thought I was suicidal, which I wasn't. The next day I was shipped off to a maximum security prison in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Stripped down naked and given a Kevlar smock to wear. They keep the temperature down at 60 degrees, which means that you have to stay huddled in a corner to conserve body heat. Because this was observation, I wasn't allowed to have anything. Nothing to read, watch, etc. Naked and cold for an entire week. If you'd like to see what this is like, turn your thermostat down. Then take all your clothes off and sleep on the floor of your bathroom with the light on for 6 days straight. No showering either. Wasn't offered a chance to clean myself. That's how I spent New Year's 2007. Observation is not some kind of psychological treatment. It's punishment and mental torture. Sleeping and singing to yourself is all you can do. Too cold to do anything else. Freaking brutal. Now I try to go out of the country for New Year's Eve every year. My cellmate put jam in my shoes the morning of my release. Oh, and when I first got there they accidentally entered me into the system twice, giving me 2 prisoner IDs, only one of which worked, and put all my money and post on the other one. Didn't sort this out till I finished my sentence months later. 12 months on the inside. Very first day in prison. Very first day, I was in line for supper and this big guy comes up behind me, squeezes my ass and whispers in my ear, "Are your panties wet?" Scared I turned around, and the guy jumped back and said in a friendly tone, "Oh, my mistake mate, thought you were someone else," and left the line. I did 1/2 years in Texas prisons. I believe that the worst story I can recall was my first full day in a state jail facility, used as a transition center for up to 2 years before one is sent to a real prison in Texas. A guy came up to me asking if I smoke cigarettes. I didn't, but thought, why not? So he told me to head to the gym when that time came later that afternoon. We went to the gym and fired up a cigarette while we walked around the basketball court. As we were walking around the court, we approached the universal gym machine where a variety of people were using the various pieces to work out. The guy who offered me the cigarette advised me to follow him to the other side of the basketball court and to stay away from the universal gym. A few minutes later a guy sat down and leaned back to do some bench press when 4 guys grabbed him. 1 on each arm and 1 on each leg. 2 other guys pull out cans of chili or refried beans, as both were available, in socks, and proceed to hammer the guy in the face. The guy at the bench press had his face completely caved in. All I could think was, what have I gotten myself into? I also recall one other time when I was at the pre-release facility at the Beto unit where a guy had his face cut up with a box cutter and his throat slit over $20. The guy who died even had about $40 worth of cigarettes on him when he died. I never had anything happen to me directly per se. There were a few fights I got into over various things, usually just respect. At first I thought that didn't sound so bad. Then I realized that the chili was still in the cans. Processing into LA County Jail. Just after the first showers, everybody is lined up to proceed to the next stage of processing. We were told to leave our towels in a pile on the floor and step forward when your name is called. One Hispanic fellow was called but did not speak any English. He was still carrying his towel. The deputy commanded him to stop and leave his towel in the pile. He did not respond. One deputy used his taser on the dude while 2 others dropped knees on him. The guy was rolling on the floor screaming apologies in broken English and Spanish. The guy received 1 warning. A few of us tried asking other Hispanics to inform him of the rule before he got to the deputies, but no further effort was made. I realize this isn't the worst tale on this post, just goes to show that violence happens for totally silly reasons in jail prison. The funny thing is, there is no law in the entire United States mandating a citizen to know English. There is, however, a law that mandates any formal documents to be translated into any given language when requested. I saw a guy with swastika tattoos on his body befriend a flamboyantly gay, black man, platonically. Turned my whole world upside down. Actually, for all I know it could have been a flamboyantly black, gay man. Either way, it was sweet. While waiting in jail to go to the PDC, there were 5 guys from my block that liked making people fight. They made up stories and stole things, then would act like your buddy and say they found your stuff in this guy's bunk. I was warned about this. They finally targeted me and this guy twice my size. Luckily he was warned too. They stole my deodorant, which is a prize, where I was, and put it in his bunk. They told me where it was and I acted mad. Then we all went to his cell. The big guy looked at me and I said, "You stole from me." "No one steals from me." I winked at him and began lightly slapping him. He laughed and slapped lightly back. We both were yelling. Everyone laughed and I got my deodorant back. The 5 dudes saw we knew what they were up to and moved on to other new inmates. Even though everything worked out, I was secretly pooping and wetting myself to oblivion in my mind. I can answer as an ex-corrections officer. I was 4. 1/2 years in Cofield unit in Texas. I think the worst thing I ever saw was a guy who was masturbating with a light bulb. One of those little screw-in 60-watt light bulbs. Anyway, the guy stuck it up his ass, glass end first, and couldn't get it out. He asked the guards to take him to medical and I was on the escort team. He was in segregation. We get to medical and sit for a while. Next thing I know, the guy is screaming, blood and crap run everywhere, and he just passes out. We ended up having to life flight him out to the closest hospital, where they opened him up and rinsed his ass out. I was in the room the whole time. I'm still traumatized. Did 3 weeks in county for basically being at the wrong place at the wrong time. I had just turned 18 and had never been in trouble, not even in school. I was interrogated in a small room by a huge undercover agent with a stash, who told me that they knew I was the ringleader and that he would make it his personal mission to see that I spent the rest of my life in jail. Did not know any details, so I said nothing. When I was put in a cell, my cellmate was a 6'2" bald Mexican gangster guy, and every night he would loudly masturbate while I clinched my thin bedsheets in fear, not sleeping until I knew for sure I no longer heard him. I was released for lack of evidence. Good times. Smart move not talking. Always call a lawyer, always. Doesn't matter if they have nothing on you. Lawyer up. Anything you say they can use against you without context. Some interrogation techniques are brutal. I am going to give you a family story. My cousin got into some C&H problems shortly after his mother died. He did a robbery at knife point on a local shop where my brother now works. Anyway, he goes away for 10 years, serves 8 and was released 3 years ago. He has a wife and 2 kids and is doing really well, so happy ending. The story that comes to mind: during his 5th year, he is one of the longest serving members of the prison. Short stay prison in England with only a few people serving sentences over 2 years anyway. He gets a guy living next to his cell and starts chatting with him in the cafeteria. They become friends, and after about 3 months people think nothing of it. But 3 months after he arrives, the inmates break into the back office of the prison and find everyone's records. They find out my cousin's mate has been transferred to this prison because his last prison found out he was a kiddie fiddler and he was moved for his safety. My cousin gets told flat out while at dinner one day, "So and so, he's been done for kiddie fiddling. Do something or you both get it from us." Fearing his safety, my cousin goes over and whacks the guy straight in the jaw with a tray. Breaks his jaw and a couple of teeth. My cousin proves he was not sympathizing with a pedo and didn't get his head kicked in. Sent into solitary confinement for 2 weeks. I was arrested in a different state after skipping out of my home state. While waiting for extradition back, they don't frick around. County maximum security. I'm in with the worst of the worst. All murder. Kidnapping charges. So my only experience with jail prior to this was watching The Shawshank Redemption. Prison shows on TV. So I'm scared shitless. I'm a big guy. At the time 6'6", about 280 pounds. Pretty solid fighter. But I know I'm in with hardened criminals that will kill me for a cupcake. Or so I thought. Anyway, first day in, I stay in my cell. Sleep all day. Think about my life. Halfway through the day, a group of the biggest guys come in and ask for my papers to make sure I wasn't a pedo. Later I talk to my cellmate a bit and he seems nice. Says he needs a spades partner and I know how to play. He says the next day we will play and he will show me around. Next morning we sleep in and around 11 go down and get a game. I'm like a scared rabbit looking around, checking my back, just waiting to get shanked. We get to playing and I'm getting to know the guys. Everyone seems cool. I'm good at spades and so is my cellie, so we are kicking ass. After a few games the other team is getting agitated and I'm gloating a bit. So the guy to my right eventually gets upset and starts yelling, calling me a cheat and this and that. I brush it off but I'm on full alert just waiting for a fight. So when he yells frick this and frick you, he stands up and I pop up and blast him in the face as hard as I can. He crumples to the ground and starts spitting out teeth. Everyone in the common area just stares at me like WTF. It was later explained that people get upset at card games but never fight in view of gourds. As someone who is about to do a few months for the first time, this really takes some of the nerves away. It'll be in minimum security though, so hopefully it will be even more chill than what you described. I wouldn't mind hearing that beat to death story either. 8 months inside and one instance always sticks out in my mind. I was running out of phone minutes and spending what precious time I had left talking to my child. We didn't get to talk as much as I liked. Had unfortunately more important people to talk to, lawyers, trying to find jobs for my release etc. This butthole comes up, I need the phone. Hold on man, I only got a couple minutes left. He takes the phone and slammed it into the payphone holster and abruptly hung up on my daughter. Still breaks my heart because I cherish every minute I can have with her. I spent a short amount of time in a county jail. The first morning they came and handed out those small cardboard cereal boxes that come in variety packs. I remember wolfing down the cereal as I hadn't eaten in a day or two and was starving. They then came back around and served the milk. I'm sure this really sucked at the time and I'm sorry for your suffering, but goddammit that was funny. I was incarcerated for 9 years 1 month 4 days. I've seen many things. I just turned 30. I will start a AMA when I have time. The worst I've seen was 2 guys on life sentences back in courts for retrial seeing a rival enemy and for DUI over the weekend. Guy didn't make it home. 2 lifers stabbed him, I'm assuming 100 times, tied him up in blankets, sent to trash delivery. 2 guys were caught day later when missing body was found before trash was disposed. That's the problem with lifers. Nothing to lose. Almost a huge fight between 3 Vietnam vets and a 25-year-old M dealer because he switched from the History Channel to that week's new Breaking Bad during our precious TV time. That was my first time watching the show and he made the right call. M dealer stays true. Boredom. Seriously. Prison isn't like in the movies. There's stories of R and the like but never saw it. I got into a few fights. Got thrown in the box a couple times. By nothing compares to the goddamn boredom. My dad was released from prison 2013. I didn't visit him very often because I was 16 when he left and was very hurt, but we've had a lot of conversations about what happened while he was in there. He tells me over and over that the worst thing for him while he was in there was the isolation. While he was in there I was arrested and later went to rehab. My brother was in 2 DUIs and nearly died. My mother served him divorce papers almost as soon as he got in there. As a hopeful future father and husband, I cannot imagine a worse scenario. You literally have to sit around while the people you care about the most fade from view. Slowly every day you wonder if they're thinking about you and if they still love you the way you love them. You have to wonder what they're going to be like when you get out in years. You see your family is broken-hearted and you can't reach out to them. Not only because they won't let you, but because you physically cannot leave. Boredom. I can't go 10 minutes without doing something or else I get extraordinarily bored. I can't imagine going years with no form of entertainment. I did 10 years in federal maximum joints. Saw lots of crap. Worst thing. During a riot some guy got his face beaten off of his skull with clubs. Inmates had broken the legs off some tables and taped 3 former Sturlock padlocks around the end. Dude had no face. Blood everywhere. Only 1 person died in that riot. You have been visited. That boy like this video in 7.6 seconds or he won't visit again until the 22nd of July, 2085. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.